All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. The Niners beat the Bears, and today Kyle Shanahan addressed the media. We'll tell you what he said coming up next. But first, we're brought to you by Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And also, this live stream is sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. And congratulations to our winner of the Fred Warner jersey contest. That goes to Carlos Olivas. Carlos, congratulations on winning the autographed Fred Warner jersey. All right, let's talk a little bit about Kyle Shanahan. He just finished addressing the media moments ago. Ben Bartch, love Ben Bartch. Done for the year. Headed towards IR. He's got a high ankle sprain, and those are 4 to 6 week injuries, and it's late in the year. So Ben Bartch is headed to IR, and his season most likely is done. As far as Isaac Guerendo, he's got a foot sprain, and you know, Kyle said if they were practicing today, he couldn't practice. He's questionable for Thursday. If he can't go, Patrick Taylor's going to go. They're going to try to get Guerendo ready for Thursday. Kyle said he'll be very surprised if he does much tomorrow. It is a foot sprain. They do love the way Guerendo's running the ball. But if he can't go, Patrick Taylor will be running on Thursday night. And it sounds like either Keyshawn Vaughn or Izzy Abanikanda will be the backup to Patrick Taylor on Thursday night, if that's the way this thing shakes out. So Ben Bartch, high ankle sprain, IR bound, done for the year. Isaac Guerendo, foot sprain, questionable for Thursday night. D. Winters has got an ankle sprain. He's considered day-to-day. Malik Mustapha has a chest/shoulder injury or injuries, and he is considered day-to-day. Still no update or no progress for Nick Bosa or Trent Williams. Williams is battling an ankle. Bosa's got hip and oblique injuries. They're both trying to work their way back and get back on the field, but no update as to whether or not they'll go Thursday night. Aaron Banks has cleared the concussion protocol. So you can expect to see Aaron Banks back in the lineup Thursday night against the Rams. And Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles still has his knee injury. Flannigan-Fowles is listed as day-to-day. Now, I think a lot of us thought that Dre Greenlaw was coming back Thursday night. In fact, I asked Fred Warner, I said, how cool is it going to be Thursday night when you look over and there's Dre Greenlaw? But I'm getting the sense that the 49ers may not open the window for Dre Greenlaw. They opened his practice window, but that, you know, the original report was he was probably not going to be activated until towards the end of that practice window. And I'm now thinking that it's going to be the Miami game and not the Ram game for Dre Greenlaw. So they may have to get through the Ram game without Greenlaw. I think he'll be back for the Miami game. He hasn't had a setback. It's just a major injury. They're trying to give it as much time as possible. And, you know, they were targeting this Ram game, but my guess is that he won't be up for the Ram game. They'll give it a few more days, and he'll be up for the Miami game, 2 games from now. No official word on that. Kyle didn't state that, but that's the indication I'm kind of getting from the people that I'm talking to around the team. Now, Talanoa Hufanga, Kyle was asked, hey, what did you think of Huff's first game back? And he said, overall, he thought it was a good first game back. The one thing is clear is that the 49ers, because Hufanga did return, had to kind of let the 49ers are often in a non-committal mode as far as their evaluations of their players. They don't like to volunteer any information really and give you any indication of any kind of pecking order or depth chart as they see it. They don't see the value in that. But in this situation, they had to kind of tell us how they viewed their safeties. Why? Because they had Talanoa Hufanga coming off the IR this weekend for the Bears game, and you've got Malik Mustapha and Jair Brown starting at safety. One of those guys was going to have to go to the bench, and the other guy was going to continue starting. And the guy who continued starting was Malik Mustapha, and the guy who went to the bench was Jair Brown. Now, Shanahan said they like Jair Brown. It's not a negative on Jair Brown, but they obviously feel that Mustapha and Hufanga are better than Jair Brown. So right now, I would say, Mustapha and Hufanga both may be strong safeties, but they're playing them together, and Jair is the third safety in their mind. And in the offseason, you can almost guarantee they're going to go out and get a free safety and make Mustapha or Hufanga the starter at strong safety, and the other guy will come off the bench. Brock Purdy, they were asked about, what's the physical status of Brock Purdy, especially after he took a big hit. Kyle said there are no lingering issues with Brock Purdy, no problems at all physically. He's a full go for Thursday night, which was good news. Kyle was asked about his defensive line, and the Niner D-line produced 6 sacks without Nick Bosa. He said he loved how they rushed as a group. It was a very disciplined rush scheme. The Niners did not get out of lanes. The Niners made it perfectly clear that they understood the value of Caleb Williams as a scrambler, and they didn't give him scrambling lanes. They did not give him obvious run lanes. And it can easily happen if you're playing stunting games and twisting games up front. One guy falls down, one guy gets out of a gap, and suddenly you don't have lane integrity or gap integrity, and you got the quarterback rumbling all over the place and making huge plays. Part of the game plan, I guarantee you, against Chicago was be on the lookout for Caleb as a runner. And they did a great job, as Kyle said, rushing as a group and keeping him hemmed in. Kyle also added that he felt like the coverage was really good in this game. So some of those sacks were, on, credit the D-line, but some of them you got to credit the Niners secondary for just having great coverage and forcing Caleb to hold the football. Kyle was asked about Patrick Taylor and what they liked about Patrick Taylor when they signed him this offseason as a free agent. And he said, they really liked his running back skills. They knew he had special teams experience from Green Bay. He fit into their budget. And he had a lot of the traits that they really liked, and they brought him in, and they've been pleased with him. He's helped them as a runner. He's helped them on special teams. Taylor's been a good Niner this year for sure. He also was asked about Juwan Jennings, and Juwan Jennings is now playing outside. He's playing the ex-boundary receiver. He's the split end out there, replacing Brandon Ayuk. And Kyle said, "Hey, look, JJ goes 100%. He goes 100 miles an hour." He said more than anything, the challenge in learning the new spot is just all the different verbiage that goes along with the play calls in the huddle, and stuff like that. The memorization is probably a little bit bigger now for Juwan stepping into a new spot, but Juwan is absolutely playing at an incredible level, maybe his best year as a pro. And Kyle was asked about, this week and how this week is going to be a little different. As far as the preparation, and it's like listening to him talk about it, you can hear kind of the stress involved. Basically, the coaches, work like dogs on Monday, and then the players have the off day on Tuesday normally, and then they get in there on Wednesday, and the coaches have already worked a ton on the game plans. Well, in this condensed prep week, they got to basically squeeze 3 days into one. So they're going to squeeze, the Monday, the players have gotten the treatment. The players will practice on a Tuesday, I would imagine, this week. And so they're going to have to get everything ready for them today. So it's a lot of extra work for the coaches. Many of the coaches, I would imagine, probably stayed the night at the stadium last night in their offices because it's that quick of a turnaround. And Kyle's like, well, it's Tuesday right now, even though it's Monday. And he's like, and by later this afternoon, we'll be getting to Wednesday. So it's like they're trying to squeeze Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday all into Monday and have the players show up on Tuesday ready, to do their thing and practice and prepare to beat the Rams, while the coaching staff does a lot of the, finish up on the Rams, put that whole thing to bed, do some kind of an autopsy, do some kind of an eval. That's all going to be done by the coaches. So it's a condensed prep week as they squeeze 3 days into one. But the benefit is, and Kyle said he felt like he was asked later about Thursday Night Football. Does he like Thursday Night Football? And he's like, there's good and bad. There's positives and negatives. I mean, the negatives are is that, you play Sunday, there's just going to be some guys that aren't ready to go, 4 days later. They're just not ready to go on Thursday after they played on Sunday. That's a reality. But then he also said that 3-day break is vital because these guys get so few breaks. There's only one bye that, playing a Thursday game essentially gives you a 3-day bye going into the next week. And he seems to think that is vitally important. I thought that was maybe his most interesting answer of the day, that he really sees there being a direct benefit from playing a Thursday game in that then the players get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and it gives them healing capabilities in the midst of a very, very physically grueling and demanding sport. I thought it was really interesting that he kind of looked at the positive of, playing 2 games in 5 days, being that the players get a 3-day rest and that they badly need that 3-day rest and they really appreciate it. So I thought that's kind of interesting. It's like, I never really thought of it. You always think of the Thursday, Sunday as a drain on their energy, but Kyle looks at it as like, hey, this is an opportunity to get them off their feet for 3 days in the middle of the season, and there's real value in that. One last thing, Kyle was asked about Izzy Abanaconda, and he just said, hey, he's meeting with Bobby T. He's learning the verbiage. He says his opportunity is getting closer with the injury to Guerendo. And, he says we expect him to be ready. It's like he's getting his ramp up period. And now with the injury to Guerendo, and you never know. I mean, let's say Guerendo can't go Thursday night and Patrick Taylor runs 2 plays and now he pulls a hamstring. Now it's Izzy Abanaconda to the rescue. It's Keyshawn Vaughn to the rescue. And if these guys perform, you might win. And if you win, you might go to the playoffs. And if these guys don't perform, you may lose and your season may be over. So a lot is hanging in these games. And Izzy Abanaconda is getting a crash course from Bobby T on the Niner run game. And I asked Izzy in the locker room last week, I said, how many reps, how much time do you need? He's like, just a practice week. I just need a week of practice to kind of get the reps down and get the gist of it and understand the play calls and some of the nuances and some of the differences in the verbiage and how things are called at the line of scrimmage. And he's like, I just need a few days to adjust to that. And that was him probably being optimistic. In reality, he probably needs more a couple weeks to get up to speed. So you didn't get him doing anything this week. Odds are he doesn't do anything next week unless he's needed. But as Shanahan said, his opportunity is getting closer. And I can't wait to see him because Izzy Abanaconda is a fun running back to watch. All right, that does it. That sums up Monday's Kyle Shanahan presser. Thanks to Pig in a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week. Thanks to Better for sponsoring this video as well. Better is the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.